Hey, welcome to another episode of It Resolves. My name's Kevin.
My name's Will. Welcome back. Take two. Here we go.
We may be re-recording this.
But that's fine. We're not going to talk about it too much, but yeah, we might be re-recording.
The audio messed up. This is take two. Deal with it.
Look,
get over it.
It's never going to be perfect. That was more for us than anything else.
Yes.
It's frustrating. Guys, welcome. Happy Monday. Thanks for tuning in, watching, and listening, wherever you're doing it, how you're doing it. The podcast app, SoundCloud, YouTube, of course. And as you know, you can talk to us, find us, get in contact on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Patreon, and Twitch, where you get to see some live interaction.
And hang out with Parks and Alex.
Yeah.
Who are valuable members of the team. Parks has been doing a lot
almost
lately.
As fun as us.
Yeah.
I'm just honest.
Every time we do Cube Nights, we need you guys to vote who you think will win. Team Podcast or Team Stream.
I mean, yeah,
I know they have a better name, but ours is
we're
do. Better.
Honestly, Team Stream.
Team Stream is cool. We're the podcast people.
We'll work on that.
Podcast peeps.
Yeah.
And our logo will be the peep? Marshmallow peeps.
Yes.
All right. This is a thing now. We're gonna make this a thing.
Yeah, we got to decorate our peeps. One could be
we
you.
need to make shirts printed.
Heck yeah. Dibs on like a top hat peep can be me.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Because I wore a hat once.
We're doing, I think we're going to do a Cube Night this coming Saturday.
It'll be fun.
That's the plan. And so we'll probably do a two-headed giant cube and make that happen again. We did it last time, and Team Stream lost.
Oh, yeah.
Because
0-2.
We're better.
0-2.
Yeah, we won.
I'm not saying we swept the floor.
But we literally swept the floor.
Yeah, we spilled stuff and we had to clean it up.
Yeah.
So we lit that.
Their guts.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Welcome, guys, to the Monday episode.
Friendly.
Yeah, family friendly. The modern deck techs are today. Obviously, we cycle through all the formats. Today is modern. Next week is vintage. The following week is legacy. Obviously, we have community suggestions from you guys, which you guys have always been coming through with some great suggestions.
Yeah, a lot of opinions, and I love that.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's awesome. It's great to see some interaction. And then obviously we pick one for ourselves, which usually falls to you. I
take it
report on the
happily.
community deck. Yeah,
falls it does not. Sir.
I'm excited about the decks today, even though we already talked about them once. We get to do it again.
Yeah, now we know the ins and outs. But hey,
but before that, we do have our random card of the day. Obviously, we start out every Monday with a random card of the day, so we will see what we get this time.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad we're not using our last one.
Yeah, our last one was really bad.
Weird.
It was, how did you pronounce it?
General Jarkeld.
Okay, yeah. If anybody knows what that card does without looking it up, you win. I don't know what you win, but you win.
I don't know why you would know it, unless you're the guy that designed it, maybe. And
yeah,
you had some grandiose plans for this terrible
weird card.
And
yeah. Anyway, 3, 2, 1. Plated Rootwalla.
Rootwalla.
Without looking at it, the name Rootwalla is promising.
Dude, the art is just dope.
It really is. This is from Exodus. Wow. That's really cool. Back in the day. Wow. It's just a common. For 4 and a green, it's a 3/3 lizard. For 2 and a green, you can pump it +3/+3 until the end of the turn. You can only play it once per turn. But you can make it a 6/6.
Seems fine for limited.
Fine and limited, yeah.
I wish it wasn't 5, but I think during the time it would have been around.
That would have been on par.
It would have been fine. Yeah, so this effect has stayed around for a while in Magic, the pay to pump a green thing, do it once a turn. It's not fire breathing, but it kind of is. It's not as good, because fire breathing I think is more flexible, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And this doesn't explicitly say it's sorcery speed, but sometimes it is just sorcery speed. So, yeah, I think this card would be fine and limited. It's
sort of like your pseudo bomb in a limited green deck.
A 6/6 is
it's a 6/6. Yeah, I mean the only problem with it is that you do have to invest mana into it.
Correct.
And so like the classic Rootwalla is Basking Rootwalla, which is really really good because you can play it for, I think if you discard it, the madness cost is 0.
Oh wow.
Is that correct?
I don't know. Actually.
And then you can also pump it, and that's just insane. But it's early game, right? Like you get to play it really early. Whereas this is late game, and obviously it's very strong, but I don't think it has the same impact because you have to sink mana into it every turn. Whereas the Root Walla can take over a game very early and get you some of that extra points of damage, sort of on the early game.
Certainly.
And then you have other stuff to do with your mana later on. So
yeah,
it's a cool card.
Obviously, I didn't play when this was
neither
being
of us
drafted,
did.
but I would imagine that 5 mana for this card is not that bad.
Sure,
that time.
I think it's decent.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays this card is garbage, but
Yeah, it's really bad.
But back in the day,
yeah, no, it's an interesting card. That's all I can say about it. It's better
Agreed.
than the one we had earlier.
Very much so. Very much so.
All right, guys, we got some modern decks today.
I'm excited.
I am too.
These are 2 cool ones.
Very cool ones. Do we want to rock paper scissors? We rock paper scissors in the last one to see you guys first.
I think we should.
Do you want to do it again?
Let's do
All
it.
right.
Let's do it.
Rock paper scissors shoot. All right, I go first. That was really quick. Last time it took 2 tries. Okay.
Look, I've played the same thing twice.
All right, guys. So on Instagram, we had a number of suggestions. The one that we decided to go with, just as a personal interest to me, and I think it's a really cool deck, is the Boggles deck, also known as Aura Hexproof.
Yeah, that's how I know it. When he said Boggles, I was certain I did not know the deck, but
yeah,
I have seen it.
But we actually
times.
played the Pauper version of this deck in a Pauper League a couple times, I believe.
Yeah, we played 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool deck. The modern deck obviously is a much more powered up version than the Pauper deck. But this was suggested by Esper MTG as well as Hedron Crab. So thank you for participating. The Harry Potter.
Yeah.
One
of the best scenes.
Yeah, seriously. Unfortunately, I do have to announce that this deck is about 0% of the meta. It has gone downhill tremendously. The first time I saw it was with Reed Duke, who's one of my favorite pro players. Excuse me. But yeah, it's on the downhill swing. It just there's a lot of things that sort of make it not very good. But that being said, it is still a really solid deck. It's a good way to get a modern deck that's fairly simple to pilot. It's still on the expensive side, right around 1,000, just under. If you're getting it in paper, if you're getting it online, about 450.
But I think most of that is in lands and the sideboard for this.
I think so. A lot of the main cards in this deck are actually really cheap. Obviously, being a Boggles deck, Boggles is the namesake card, and it's only a couple bucks.
Right. Maybe Daybreak. Well, we'll get into that, but maybe Cornet is.
Cornet's it's not too bad actually.
Yeah,
but
I'm just trying to think beyond lands. I don't know.
Horizon Canopy is definitely the big one. So let's go over lands really quick first. It runs 18. This deck list, by the way, is also really well fleshed out. There's not a lot of variance between deck lists, so if you see an Aura Hexproof, really the only thing that's going to be changing are some of the actual auras themselves. And really those are just metagame calls. So we're looking at a base list. You can obviously play around with some of these as you want, but most of these cards are auto includes. There's not a whole lot of room for differences there. But
yeah, that makes sense.
Again, 18 lands, first of which we have 1 forest and 1 plains as basic lands. You need to be able to fetch those against Blood Moon. So they do run 1 of each.
Fair.
4 Horizon Canopy, which is actually a really good land right now. It's seeing a lot of play in Bant decks and things like that as well. You can tap it to pay a life and get either a green or a white. You can also, I believe, tap 1 and tap it and then sack it to draw a card.
Yep.
So it's sort of card draw for you. It's also just mana fixing. 4 Razor Verge Thicket. Again, one of the fast lands from Scars of Mirrodin, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
That is just the green-white one. And then 4 Temple Garden and 4 Windswept Heath. Auto includes shock lands, fetch lands. Nothing too crazy there.
If you're Slesny colors, that's probably you're gonna have.
Gotta have them.
If not all of them, a smattering.
Yeah. So that's basically it for the lands. And again, not too much room for variance. The creatures, the exact same way. You're going to run all these creatures. So the first 2 creatures we'll see: 4 Glade Cover Scout, 1 green, 1/1 Hexproof. That's it. Similarly, Slippery Boggle. Technically a green or a blue, although you're only going to use green. And it's the exact same thing, a 1/1 Hexproof. You run play sets of each. Those are your main creatures for this deck because the Hexproof is sort of the key here.
Sure.
4 Core Spirit Dancer is also a fantastic include with this. It's a 0/2 for 2. Doesn't seem all that great. However, it gets +2/+2 for each aura attached to it. Obviously, you have quite a few.
Yeah.
So it gets very strong very quickly. And anytime you play one of those aura spells, you get to draw a card. So it helps you draw into more and more of these threats. So very, very solid creature for this deck. The last one is a playset of Noble Hierarch, mana ramp, which you don't need too much of, but it helps you play out all these auras very quickly. And it also gives you an Exalted trigger.
Yeah, it's nice
which
to have an extra.
really any point of damage is worth it in this deck. So
yeah,
very solid, again, very set creature package.
Sure.
The rest of the deck is auras. That's all it is. It's enchant creature, do a bunch of stuff. 26 of them. So first things first, we'll start off probably at the top end with Daybreak Coronet, sort of the namesake card. It's not too expensive. It's $7.50 a piece.
Yeah.
But yeah,
for an
it's
aura.
probably for an aura. Yeah. But it basically gives a creature +3/+3, first strike, vigilance, and lifelink.
That's
all for 2 mana.
All the white stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
and
awesome.
+3/+3. I'm surprised that you don't just gain 3 life when it comes in.
Yeah.
That would just be the whitest card there is, right?
The whitest card there is.
I mean, honestly.
We're going to make a segment called The Whitest Card There Is, where we're going to try and figure out what is the whitest card.
That gives Daybreak gives my vote.
Yeah, it's probably up there. Moving on, we have a playset of Ethereal Armor. Again, just playing to the theme. One of the newest includes from Eldritch Moon, which I think is very interesting, is Grith's Boon, which for 1 white, you give a creature +1/+0 and flying. Doesn't seem all that great, but it's okay.
Evasion,
Evasion is good, and the pump is nice. It also plays with Ethereal Armor very well, but the bonus here is that for 3 and a white, you can return this card from the graveyard to the battlefield attached to target creature. So basically, this gives you recursion. If your creature somehow dies, you're able to, if you can get another creature out, you can put this on it immediately. So it's nice to sort of pump things up late game.
Sure.
It gives you a little more late game play. In addition, for Hyena Umbra, for Rancor, also Rancor being very good for the recursion factor. Yeah. For Spider Umbra, and 2 Spirit Mantle. Very, very good against creature decks. It gives your creatures protection from creatures.
Which is nice.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's exactly what you want.
Yeah. And of course, the totem armor on the Umbras.
Yeah. Makes it
perfect.
Superior. Yes. Really, really good. It makes it very hard to deal with any of your creatures. Already having Hexproof and then adding the totem armor makes it just insanely difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
the main board. That's it. You really don't need to change it. Like, you can play with things, but you don't really need to. That being said, the sideboard obviously is going to be a lot more on the metagame side of things. You're going to have to choose basically what you think is going to be in the meta. But the one that we're looking at runs a 1 of Aura of Silence. It basically says artifacts and enchantments that your opponents cast cost 2 more. Really hoses against affinity, things like Lantern Control, hint, hint. It also can be sacrificed to destroy target artifact or enchantment, so it's also very good at that. Also great in mirror matchups.
Definitely.
It's perfect.
Definitely.
Leyline of Sanctity as a 4 of in the sideboard, which is huge. Again, this is probably more of a metagame call. If you know you're going to be facing burn, you put a lot of these.
Yeah. I think at 4, you're probably right.
Yeah, I think so. 2 Rest in Peace.
It also helps you against Edict effects, which is one of the big weak points.
Absolutely. If somebody far and away is you, that feels really bad.
It definitely. Not that there's a ton of Edicts like in the meta right
There's not modern, but they are running around occasionally, so you do want to play them for those.
Here and there.
2 Rest in Pieces against graveyard decks. I mean, there's very little competition. I mean, there's Grafdigger's Cage and things like that, but I think Rest in Peace is probably my personal favorite, to be honest. Interestingly enough.
No, I mean, I feel like they're interchangeable, honestly,
yeah, I think so. It depends on the deck. If you're running white, I think you run Rest in Peace. If you're not running, it's dependent.
But I like Rest in Peace because you don't have to sack it to get its effect, where other things you do have to pitch it. Like
Relic and things like that.
Right.
It gets a little bit more difficult.
Right.
For sure. Yeah. 4 Ruined Halos. When it enters the battlefield, you name a card and you have protection from that chosen card.
I like that.
Yeah, I think this is a really interesting card. It's very solid in this deck. Again, running enchantments, it's perfect for this.
Yeah.
2 Seal of Primordium as a way to deal with target artifacts or enchantments, and then 2 Stony Silence again to hose artifact decks.
Answers.
Exactly. That's all this is. Sideboard's obviously being tuned to your meta, what you think you're going to see. But that's definitely a solid sideboard in my opinion.
Heck yeah.
And the main deck, again, you really don't have to change much. The idea here is to play a turn 1 Glade Cover Scout or Slippery Boggle or Noble Hierarch,
Sure.
and then just start pumping stuff with auras. That's really all it amounts to, and hopefully you win.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward. I mean,
I'm kind of surprised that there are no auras that give things hexproof. Because to put hexproof on the Spirit Dancer,
sure.
I think it'd be
However,
good. I just don't think there are any auras strong enough, really.
the problem with that is if you draw the Spirit Dancer, it's great. However, more oftentimes than not, because you have 4 copies of the Scout and the Boggle, you're going to be dealing with one of those, and that does absolutely nothing for those.
I think the Spirit Dancer is a huge upgrade.
Oh, yeah.
I know you just want to get in damage, and
Yeah.
there's plenty to be said about that.
Mhm.
But with the option of having a hexproof Spirit Dancer,
It's a fair point.
yeah, and it becomes a 2/4 with hexproof.
It does, absolutely. So it's a worthwhile thought.
Yeah.
I just think the recursion of the hexproof is probably what keeps that out of this. Just because
and that's
I think
fine.
you're going to hit the Scouts and stuff.
And
more
I
often.
can think of, not that auras are heavy on my mind, but I
Yeah.
can't think of any aura that's
I can't either.
cheap that offers hexproof.
It's worth noting too, there's nothing over 2 mana in this deck.
Yes, it's very, very low.
It's very
so-
low. That's why you run 18 lands, because you just don't need very many.
Yeah, you can cast so much.
The idea is to just start piling on auras, right? So if you have the mana, you pile them on. If you don't, who cares? Like, you just pile on what you've got, right? Like, it doesn't matter. So yeah, it's a very low to the ground deck. Again,
Definitely.
nothing over 2, unless you get into sideboard stuff, obviously. But that's it. Really cool deck.
Yeah, it's
Thank
cool,
you for the suggestion.
Simple, straightforward.
Yeah,
and it's fun
I
to
like
play.
it a lot.
We didn't play this list, of course, because it was Pauper, but it's fun. It's a blast, really. All right,
What you got for us, Will?
an entirely different deck.
Very different.
It
I got you pulled up.
is it here?
I already got you pulled up.
Oh,
I
you
was
got me
already
pulled
on it.
up.
I was trying to help you out here.
Thank you.
Again, we have our new screen just kind of here.
Yeah,
So if you
I
see us looking this way,
I
that's
like it.
why.
It
Yeah, it's
feels
really helpful.
fancy,
Right?
like we're in the Matrix. Oh, it's very nice. I am a little sleepy today. I drove back from a wedding, so I'm
A little groggy.
groggy, but
Yeah.
we're gonna get there, guys.
We already recorded this once, so it's a little.
True. That one was smoother.
Yeah, it was.
Almost. We're actually
We got this, guys. We're on the right one.
okay. Yeah. Okay.
So,
I'm
okay.
paranoid now.
Here's what happened, guys. I'm just going to go ahead and say
It's fine.
the audio started recording from the webcam, not the microphone.
We got
because
tricked.
we plugged in the microphone after plugging in the webcam and didn't check it
We got tricked.
because we were silly.
That's fine.
Um,
Everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Everyone has those days. Lantern control. We have talked about this deck several times.
Yeah.
On the show, but we haven't actually covered it, talked about it. So if anyone is not familiar with Modern or new to Magic in general and just getting into the podcast, welcome. And this is one of the
Just annoying
strangest,
deck.
came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I say that because this was a weird brew.
A couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in 11, 13?
Later than
Early?
11, probably closer to 13.
No.
I'm not sure the exact year, but this was brewed up by just a random Magic player. I forgot his name. I think it's Zach, but I don't know his full name.
Sure.
Not short Zach, actual Zach.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe that was his name, and he just brewed this just to make it, and it turns
it's
out
so
it was
good.
really
It's
good.
probably the premier prison deck nowadays.
Yeah, in
right?
Modern for sure.
Yeah. So let's get into it. Starting with the lands, you're going to notice a theme with artifacts. Anything that interacts with artifacts, it's because all of your win cons, all of your prison, I guess, accoutrements, pieces.
Fancy.
Yeah, that's like little things that go on salad. And bread. So all of your salad toppings are all artifacts. So we start with Academy Ruins. For 1 and a blue, tap, put target artifact card from your graveyard on top of your library.
Recursion.
Yeah, pretty simple. Taps for colorless as well.
Mhm.
3 Blooming Marsh. If I can click on it.
You got this.
There we go.
Yeah.
Just fast land.
Yeah.
Cool. 1 Forest. Cute. 3 Ghost Quarter, because it's nice to be able to blow up stuff, keep someone off utility.
Great against Tron.
Yes.
Great against Valakut.
Valakut, yeah. The one we almost did as our second deck. I looked at Valakut. it just I
Was
want to
it
talk about this
Valakut
more.
or was it Scape Shift Valakut?
Regular Valakut.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
just wondering.
It's fine.
Because Scape Shift is an interesting deck. I wouldn't mind doing Scape Shift at some point.
We will probably cover both.
Yeah, I mean, we
at
will
some
at some
point.
point. But yeah.
Because Valakut is interesting. It kind of comes out of nowhere to win.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I
It's
like
a
it.
combo deck at heart,
Right.
really.
All right. So yeah, Ghost Quarter is exceptional. Speaks very well to shutting down plenty of decks that win off the lands.
Yep.
Glimmer Void to cast things of multiple colors because you're not running any lands that produce blue. So if you want Academy Runes, you have to use Glimmer Void, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 Inventors Fair. So this is nice. You will go later in the game, and you will get plenty of artifacts out. So you're going to be gaining life off of this, which doesn't seem all that much, but it can keep
It saves
you.
you against some of the aggro decks.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just gaining 1 extra life, like you said, it doesn't seem like much, but it helps you. It also can search up an artifact,
Right.
which is cool.
It's just utility for an artifact deck, and
Yeah.
that's really what this is. So why would you not play it?
Yeah.
Right. Most of your spells are colorless, though not all. Most. So it's nice. I don't think you play this early, but
No.
be that as it may. Spire of Industry, just kind of a worse Glimmer Void.
Mm-hmm.
Even so, colored mana.
Very good. Yeah.
It's important. And then 1 Swamp. So you'll notice you get green and black as your colored mana. So for colored spells, you really just are running things to answer the board or answer their hand, protect your situation you're trying to build, your prison.
Exactly.
So going into that, you get 2 Abrupt Decay, main board. Just one of the most efficient removals that has ever been printed. It's one of the best cards from Return to Ravnica.
Not being able to be countered and hitting most things. Again, in Modern, things are pretty low to the ground most of the time as far as mana cost goes, as well, mostly permanents, obviously. And so this answers quite a few of them very efficiently.
Yeah. And non-land permanents too. So anything they've got, it's nice. 4 Ancient Stirrings. So this really just seeks to sift through your deck, find your artifacts. So look at the top 5 cards of your library, reveal a colorless card from among them, put it into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom. So if you don't have your lockout yet, search
This
for
helps
it.
you find it.
Yeah, pretty simple. And in that vein as well, Infernal Tutor, just serving as another draw of all of these cards.
Yep.
So this is an interesting one. It's an imperfect tutor. Learned that phrase from you. So in its vanilla effect, you've got to reveal a card from your hand and search for a card with the same name. So obviously, Ghoul Caller's Bell, you're getting another one.
Yep.
Although, if you have no cards in hand and cast this card, for its Hellbent effect, you can just tutor up a card. So, in a pinch, if you're out of cards in hand, which you will be eventually, everything here is so cheap, you'll play out your hand, and you really want to. Talk about Ensnaring Bridge in a second. So you really want to, so that effect you get pretty easily. It's great. Infernal Tutors.
It's a great tutor
awesome.
For Modern. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Ha! Big face, little face.
You got this. You can do this.
Having trouble talking. I'm so sleepy. 3 Inquisition of Kozilek and 4 Thoughtseize, also to run a little bit of hand destruction. It's really nice, not only to be able to protect on the board the situation you're trying to build. Kevin, you pointed this out in the first episode.
Yeah.
Having the information. How important is that for this deck?
So for this deck, it's everything to know what's in the hand.
Precisely.
And we'll get into the artifacts that sort of make that useful in a minute. But absolutely, you want to know what's in the hand because you're going to be basically getting to pick and choose what the opponent draws every turn. And so if you know they need land to make their hand good, you start milling the lands. If you know that they are just looking for a bomb and they've got enough lands in hand, then you start milling the bombs.
Yeah.
So you get to choose with this deck basically what's going to be drawn by your opponent. Again, to some extent, you're weak to the shuffle.
Sure.
It can be that you just get really unlucky, but the majority of the time you're not. You're going to be fine. So these cards just help you understand the knowledge portion of what's in the hand. That's exactly what you want to have in this deck. So it's perfect.
Vastly important. Thoughtseize being one of my favorite turn 1 plays ever. Excuse me, pardon me. This water's pretty strong, guys.
It's worth noting too, to that knowledge aspect. The banning of Gataxian Probe hit this deck a little bit. Not as bad as some of the other decks because again, it has Thoughtseize, it has Inquisition, so it just sort of upped its game with those. But the ability to see your opponent's hand was really useful for that. And to do it for 0 mana with Gitaxian Probe was absolutely perfect.
Yeah,
That's
it's
exactly
great.
what you wanted. The optimal turn 1 play originally was to Gitaxian Probe, play land, then play Lantern of Insight, so you get to see, what's in their hand and on top of their deck. And then if you can use something like a Mox Opal to hopefully get something out. Yeah, shuffle it. Do something where you get to get a mill card out and then start milling whenever you need to. So it used to be a little bit quicker than it is now.
Gotcha.
With Gitaxian Probe, potentially quicker.
Yeah. Well, we have never talked about the Gitaxian Probe ban.
Mm-hmm.
That happened 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
No, it wasn't that long ago.
Was it 2 years ago, though?
No, it was a lot sooner than that.
Well before we started the podcast.
It was before we started, for sure. I don't remember exactly when it was, but it wasn't that long ago.
I was in 2016.
Yeah.
It was just last year. Right?
Yeah. It wasn't more than a year ago.
I think that's right, actually. I don't know. That is a topic in and of itself.
Yeah, it is.
It's expensive,
I was frustrated with it.
Yeah, I understand it.
Yeah.
It was a great way to make Modern more competitive for a lot of decks and just take out one card.
Yeah,
that
for sure.
Kept the decks playable.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
So, moving on to Surgical Extraction main board. We have some on the sideboard as well. Surgical Extraction is it's one of my favorite cards.
I love this card.
It's a catch-all.
Yeah.
Right? To be able to, now it is stipulation, you do have to have it in the graveyard, whatever card is hitting. So if you don't know, choose target card in a graveyard other than a basic land. Search its owner's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name. Exile them, then shuffle their library.
Yeah.
So this is perfect for dealing with cards that a win con.
Yeah.
Per se. If you know it's ad nauseum and you've milled ad nauseum,
you pull them all and you win. Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And because something also to note with this, because it's anything but a basic land, you can get any of the Tron lands, Valakut again, making an appearance. If you mill any of those cards, you just hose the strategy. Like, you can just win off of this card.
Yeah.
So it's super powerful for 1 black mana or 2 life because it's
free.
Phyrexian mana.
Yeah.
It's theoretically free.
Right.
And so to literally win a game off of not doing anything basically is amazing. And so
that's what this deck kind of wants to do.
That's exactly what this deck wants to do. Yeah.
So, all right, that is kind of its answers and control-esque kind of shell. But you'll see the rest of this deck is pretty brutal.
Spicy.
And it's innocent in its, like, all these cards are innocent in their printing. They never, like, interacted before this. And they do it so well. It's awesome.
They do. It's awesome.
So, Codex Shredder is the first one we'll talk about. Target player puts the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard. You tap Codex Shredder, do that. It just mills 1.
Feels bad, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Or pay 5, tap it, sack it, return target card from your graveyard to your hand.
Yeah, cool.
Sure, that's fine.
Kind of negligible.
That's fine. Ooh, Ensnaring Bridge, spicy.
This card's actually really good.
Yes, creatures with power greater than the number of cards in your hand can't attack.
Yeah. And as you may have noticed, everything's very cheap in this deck.
Oh, very, very cheap.
So
this
you
is
will
actually like
get
the most
this.
expensive.
Yeah, it's
card,
probably one of the most. Maybe not, but it's close. There's another one that's coming up that we'll talk about. But this is up there as one of the more expensive cards.
Thinking of...
No. Up to. Down. That one.
This one?
No, down. Well, that one too, actually.
This one.
Yeah.
It's free.
Actually, the one above you too, though.
These are free. What are you talking about?
Oh, I'm talking. Oh, I was thinking actual price.
Oh, I was thinking CMC.
Yes, Ensnaring Bridge is the highest CMC at 3 mana. My bad.
I was so confused, but no,
I thought you
you're
meant
absolutely
literal
right.
price.
No, sorry,
Like-
you're absolutely right. It's the most expensive in terms of mana cost.
Yeah.
It's at 3. Sorry, that's what I meant. But
Yeah,
no,
you're good.
You're right, Kevin. So this deck is a little pricey at around. I'll round up just to be safe. It's like 1,200.
Yeah.
And 700 online, so it is one of the more expensive ones
for sure.
online as well. And Snaring Bridge just goes in a lot of decks, I'll say, but this especially. Anything that doesn't win with creatures, you could play it.
Yeah.
2 Ghoul Caller's Bell. Just kind of another Codex Shredder, but a little worse. Each player puts the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard.
It's YouTube.
Yeah, but you're going to know what it is because Lantern of Insight, the namesake.
Perfect. Good segue.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you. Players play with the top card of their libraries revealed. Then you tap it, sack it. Target player shuffles his or her library. So if you're really out of options,
Yeah.
you shuffle the thing away.
Yeah.
And then you play your other lantern because you'll have it if you haven't already played it. Then free stuff. 4 Mishra's Bauble, which is kind of a pseudo lantern.
Yeah.
It's really until you've got the lantern. If you don't have it, Mishra's can help you get there. Sack Mishra's Bauble. Look at the top card of target player's library. Draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep.
Yep.
Oop, that's fine. Mox Opal, just for artifact ramp. Nothing wrong with artifact ramp.
No,
nothing
it's
bad to say
perfect
about
in
that.
this deck.
Yeah. And then Pithing Needle, one of my favorite cards. It's just perfect. If there's for some reason, some scenario where you don't get the ideal top card on their deck and they will draw it, you know you can play it or they can play it. Just needle it. Answers everything and anything. I love it.
Yeah, it's a great card.
Anything
it's
that
a
can beat
catch-all.
you, I'll say that. Right.
It's a catch-all. It runs 2 in the main board, at least the list that we're looking at, and 1 in the sideboard. But it's really, really good against things like planeswalkers or permanent effects of creatures, things like Scavenging Ooze or something like that. It just hoses so many things. So if there's a card that sort of got under the radar, the opponent got the card out before you were able to get the lock on them, you just Pithing Needle it. It gives you that out. And it's a game of outs. So
yes, and you need it definitely for a prison deck.
Yeah.
And then 2 Pyxis of Pandemonium. I really like this one.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So each player exiles the top card of his or her library face down. Counted it earlier. There are 8 mill effects. Milling is going to be your primary win con unless they just give up, which
does happen.
Yes,
pretty often.
So for 7, tap sack. Each player turns face up all cards he or she owns exiled with Pyxis of Pandemonium, then puts all permanent cards among them onto the battlefield.
Yep.
Wouldn't it be nice to make sure that they just got only instants and sorceries? You can do that.
You get to do that, yeah.
Yeah, give yourself a bunch of lands and more artifacts, and then
just kind of win quicker.
Give them nothing.
Great. It gets you to the win a lot quicker. This deck does win if you haven't put it together just by milling.
Right.
That's really all it can do, but it does it super well.
Yes.
And so
not as well as traditional mill decks, honestly, right?
Well, not as quickly. And that's the danger with this deck.
That's true.
It mills very effectively because again you get to pick and choose those mills. However, it's not a fast win. And that's the danger of the deck. And I talked about this the first time we recorded this, that the really scary thing is with this deck you can very easily go to time on a game.
Yeah, which is never good for either party.
It's not very fun to have to sit there and go through this sometimes.
No, it's just worse than eggs though, right? Like
I'll
say it's worse than eggs because you still kind of get to play with this. So
yeah, that's fair.
They're gonna make you draw your land.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
And that's it.
Okay, yeah,
right.
It's probably worse than eggs. Eggs is one of those decks though that like you just kind of have to sit there and wait for the opponent.
But sometimes they could fizzle.
They can fizzle.
Eggs, so.
That definitely happens. Whereas this, I mean, you literally just don't get to play. So
neither feels good. But I prefer to face an eggs deck. But,
that's fair.
Yeah. So let's talk about the sideboard briefly. Meta calls mostly, but just interesting to see what's in this list. Circle of Protection Black. You don't really see the circles anymore.
No, you don't. It's a cool include.
Yeah. 2 Collective Brutality. If you're in black, why not throw it in the sideboard? Just get you a bunch of options. Yeah, they're nice. 2 Graph Digger's Cage. Again, another option for sideboard hate. Mm-hmm. Or, I mean, graveyard hate. Yeah. And you're going to be putting stuff in the graveyard. So
yeah.
Definitely. 3 Leyline of Sanctity. This is another deck that can hard cast Leyline if you don't have it in your opening hand. So just giving yourself Hexproof, that's never bad, right?
No, against burn and stuff, you just
absolutely. Maelstrom Pulse, awesome include.
So good.
Yeah. Magus of the Moat.
This is a cool include for me.
Creatures without flying can't attack. This is
so okay. It's a classic callback to Moat. The actual original card Moat, which had the exact same effect, but it was an enchantment.
Right.
And what I think makes this so good is there's a lot of creature-based decks like Grixis, Death Shadow, Naya Zoo, Red Deck Wins, things like that all run these low-to-the-ground creatures. Flying isn't as important, and you don't get flying creatures there. Yeah. And so this hoses those. That just means they can't attack. And it's because it's a creature, and you don't run creatures in your main board. What you can do is this gives you an extra out as basically a 5th ensnaring bridge against those decks.
Yeah.
That they may not have answers for after sideboarding, solely because they will probably side out all of their creature hate if they can, because you literally don't run creatures.
That's a great point. So, I will say this.
Yeah.
Dies to Bolt.
It does die to Bolt. That's important. However, Grixis Death Shadow doesn't run Bolt. So
I keep forgetting that some people are dumb and don't run Bolt.
No, it makes sense in Grixis Death Shadow.
Not at all.
No, it does.
You can Bolt yourself.
Well, but no.
Come on, at the very worst, it's just in Death Shadow. Why not? Right, in Suicide Death Shadow.
Because you're gonna suicide yourself with Shocklands anyway. You'll get there.
Probably. I'm just saying it's more flexible than just a removal spell.
I mean, you're right. As in, you could theoretically get, but the same amount of damage you're gonna be adding onto Death Shadow, you could just bolt them for.
Yeah, you can do that too. What if you have to win combat? What if they flash in a blocker you weren't expecting and you need to pump it?
I don't know. I don't know how I feel.
I'm just saying it's a flexible option for both.
It is. It is.
In a deck that you want to damage yourself.
The thing about it,
I'm not saying you would ever probably do that, but
the problem with it is because Death Shadow is taking over a little bit. It doesn't really hit many things in Death Shadow. Like, if you get lucky, you can kill a Death Shadow.
You're saying in the mirror?
In a mirror, it's not very good. It's really bad. Because it doesn't hit Tasigur, it doesn't hit Angler.
That's true.
It hits Snapcaster, but Snapcaster you don't play for that anyway.
Yeah.
And Death Shadow, you'd have to get really lucky for it to actually hit a Death Shadow. And at that point, I don't think they care. So,
I mean, I get that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do. It's just such a strong card.
It is a strong card.
Bolt has been one of the most efficient.
I just think it's not at its best in the meta right now. It's always a great card though. There's no question. It's a great card.
If I'm in red, I don't take out Bolt personally, really ever.
Okay.
I mean, Bolt's so nice. It is.
It is nice.
You gotta have efficient removal. Sometimes Fatal Push just doesn't do it.
Against Death Shadow, it does.
Yes, but not always.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying.
It
doesn't hit Magus.
I don't know that this is ever a card you plan for though.
No,
it's
probably
a really
not.
oddball card.
Yeah,
it's a great
definitely.
include.
But
it's cool.
There are other options.
Yeah,
Planeswalkers. No. I mean, Grixis Death Shadow doesn't have good options for Planeswalkers anyway, right?
No, it doesn't.
Other
I think it
sideboards
sideboards like Dreadbore sometimes.
Oh, it'd be nice.
I know in my deck I have a main board Dreadbore.
I like Dreadbore a lot.
I like Dreadbore. It's sorcery, but it's efficient.
I do like Bolt Burn Dreadbore. Nature's Claim. That's another one in the sideboard. Along with an extra Pithing Needle. We talked about that.
Yep.
One Seal of Primordium. Again, these are just answers to artifacts and enchantments. You need a few. Another Surgical Extraction. And then one Welding Jar to regenerate an artifact.
Yep.
For free.
Yep.
It's pretty neat.
Cool deck.
Terrible deck. It's a good deck, but
it's an annoying deck.
I hate that it exists, but I love that it exists.
It's a very polarizing deck, isn't it?
It polarizes me.
Well, that's the thing.
I'm split down the middle.
It polarizes the people. Some people love it, some people hate it, but it also just polarizes individual people that they love it in some ways and hate it in others.
It is an interesting, I guess, in the realm of Magic, an ethical question for those who don't like net decks.
Yeah.
This started as just a brew that was weird that showed up at a tournament and wrecked house.
Yeah.
And now it's a popular netted deck.
Yeah. And it is, there's very little room, as with the Boggles deck, there's very little room for play in this deck.
I disagree with that only in the instance spot.
Well, okay. that's fair.
Yeah,
but I think
like in the core, in the prison,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. You don't take
Like,
out
you
really
don't-
any of these.
you have to have ensnaring bridge. You have
Yeah.
to have all the mill effects. You have to have lantern.
I think the only
Mox Opal's
change
pretty
you
needed.
can take out Pixis for more bells, but like other than that,
But it's still the same effect, right?
yeah.
Like,
And I like
at the end of
Pixis.
the day,
I
it's
like
pretty
Pixis
close.
better than Ghoul Collars anyway. I think they're both for 1, right?
They are.
Why would you not just run?
They're really similar. Yeah.
They are. I just think Pixis might be better. I guess for things
I think
like
Pixis is
surgical
better
extraction,
right now.
right?
Yeah, for surgical extraction,
Right.
it works. I
Protects
think
against that.
Pixis is really good right now, though, solely because, again, this deck comes up, Grixis Death Shadow. Delve is a thing, and to be able to exile instead of hit the
That is fair.
graveyard is also
That's
really
fair.
good. I know I've seen lists where they run playsets of the Pixis. I've seen decks where they run absolutely none of the Pixis. So I think this is just sort of somewhere in between. I think that's where there's some room for play here.
Sure.
But really, other than that, at its core, I don't think you really have much option.
Yeah.
You run this like
Pretty much. I mean, you can even you could take out the opals just because everything's so cheap. But
yeah, but that allows you to get that really hyper
I know,
start
I know.
that, you really need
Yeah.
sometimes. So yeah, it's a
Isn't
pretty
it
well set.
3 or more artifacts.
It
though?
is. It is.
So not really, honestly. You're looking at. Well, unless you have bobbles down. Never
Yeah.
mind. Okay, yeah. That's
I
fine.
mean, it just allows for some things that couldn't happen otherwise. So
ramp is
that's
ramp.
all.
Yeah. Ramp
You
is
need
great.
it. It
Ramp
also
is
gives
great.
you other colors of mana, which is cool.
$65 card.
Do what?
$65.
Yeah, it's really expensive, and you need 4 of them. That's one of the most. I think it is the most expensive card.
Probably. I would think
Bobble
it's
is
more than-
weirdly
yeah.
expensive. I really.
You think so?
I hate how expensive it is.
For its effect, or
Just because it shouldn't be that expensive. It's not a rare. I don't think. I'm almost positive it's not.
I think you're right.
I want to say it's a common. I could be wrong on that. I don't know. You're looking it up, aren't you?
I am.
Okay, good. We'll know.
I'm always curious.
It's $27 right now for a
But
bobble.
it's a free spell, though.
No, you're right.
Which
I mean, it's a
is-
great card. Absolutely. It replaced Gataxian Probe in a lot of decks.
That's the thing.
But Gataxian Probe was not $27.
No, nor should it have been. It's an uncommon.
Okay, it's an uncommon, so that's a little bit better. But like, it's a $27 uncommon. Like, that's insane. Everybody complained about Path. Well, like
How much was Path at one point?
10 maybe at most.
Come on, y'all.
Kitchen Finks is actually the one that is causing a lot of uproar right now, solely because it's like 15.
I get the Kitchen Finks argument.
Yeah, I
Because
buy that.
it goes in so much, and it hasn't been reprinted for like.
I hope they reprint it in
years.
something like Iconic Masters. That would be nice.
I would hope they do. Right? It's been in everything.
It's a very, very iconic deck or an iconic card in Modern.
It's prominent. It's prominent.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
any questions about Lantern Control? I've talked about it 2
I'm
times
good.
today.
I'm
good?
good. If you guys have questions,
Let
comment
us
section
know.
below.
And as always, we are not experts. We are just
We're just humble explorers of the planes of magic.
we walk the plains.
Yes.
So
We resolve things.
plains, the swamps, the islands, the mountains, but never the forests.
No, the forests are the worst.
The forests have bugs.
I don't like bugs. All right,
Coward
moving
lame.
off of the deck list. Thank you guys again for your suggestions. We will have a post to talk about vintage deck lists next week, so we encourage you to comment on that. Feel free to. But we do move off of that. We have a little bit of business to take care of first before we go to our Cracker Packs.
So
We forgot to talk about the question of the week on the Friday episode. We got a little carried away on the research.
We got caught up with
and of
Modern
things. Yeah. So kind of forgot to talk about what the best tribe is. I say best. It was best or favorite. And so, yeah, we're going to go over this really quickly because, again, we already talked about it, so you don't get a chance to guess.
no,
Because you
I know
already
it's-
did that.
I know it's coming up. I did forget what's in third place. I think I remember one of them, but
Okay, so as always, we do a third, then a second, then a first. Third was a 3-way tie at 5 votes each. We had zombies, goblins, and dragons.
I do remember it now.
All very good. Makes sense to me. I like those. At number 2 with 6 votes, we had merfolk, which again makes sense to me.
Right.
And then in first place, to nobody's surprise, with 10 votes,
Elves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most competitive. It's a fan favorite. It's elves. I mean,
Elves has never been bad, really, right?
No, not really.
They're so efficient. The interactions are just stupid strong.
Yep.
Elves are just great.
They're great. Other interesting ones that I wanted to mention: Wizards was thrown in, Birds was thrown in, Atogs was thrown in.
Birds is weird to me.
Birds is weird to me, but it's.
Did anybody say Griffins?
No. Sorry.
Okay.
You didn't comment on it. Gideon's was an interesting
I
one.
was just wondering.
Fairies was on there. Cats in honor of the new EDH deck. Spirits, Eldrazi, Squirrels. Yeah, Gideon's. Solely because of Gideon of the Trials.
I know, but guys, come on.
I know it's whatever. Squirrels for the 2 people and Parks, so 2.5. That said squirrels.
You're half a person.
You win. No, we just can't count Parks. Because he's part of the Resolve team.
Because you're half a person.
Ooze, that's true. Aetherborn, Slivers only got 1 vote.
That shocks me. Slivers is great.
Yeah, guys, get
Like,
with it.
Slivers is ridiculously fun to play.
It's so fun.
In a big group of everyone playing Slivers.
Yeah, that's like kind of the best time too. Otherwise, it's just like, all right, people are gonna target you. But you know, Minotaurs, a personal favorite of yours. Rats and crabs. I like that crabs was on there. I just think that's funny.
We talked about making a whale tribal at one point.
We
right?
did.
Whale
A
versus
whale and a crab tribal, yeah.
Seafood showdown.
Seafood showdown.
Not that whales are, you know.
I mean, I wouldn't eat a whale, I don't think.
I wouldn't either.
That would just be weird, and it would take a long time.
They're endangered. Oh, that's the only reason it's weird. Because
I just think it'd take
whales.
too long.
To eat a whale?
A whale is huge. I don't want to eat the whole whale.
Oh, well, I mean, okay, if you're eating the whole thing, yeah.
That was the joke, and you missed the joke. Anyway.
I'm sleepy.
That's okay. Guys, hopefully below in the video, right below us.
Right,
here.
There.
You will see the question of the week for this week, which is, what is your favorite blue card? We encourage you to comment below on this YouTube video.
Yeah.
We'll take those into account as well as on our social media stuff. So if you post on Facebook or Instagram, wherever, we're going to look at all that, and we'll talk about it hopefully on Friday if we don't forget this time. Yeah, again, you can comment throughout the week. We will talk about them all on Friday. And that is, what is your favorite blue card? So
yeah. Mine's Omniscience.
Yeah, mine is, I mean, it's Jace. Not because it's the best, because it's nostalgic.
I like Jace before.
Anyway, moving on to our final stuff. First of all, we have to thank our sponsor, Grand Slam Comics and Collectibles, always doing the most.
They're just the best.
Yeah, they're doing great. They're hanging in there with us, and they're supporting us tremendously. We really appreciate it, and we encourage you guys to check them out. Their Facebook and their website are in the description below.
We just wrapped up a giveaway, so we will do more in the future. We're kind of letting that settle.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, and if you're into free things
are good.
I'm not going to act surprised.
No,
we're using
guys,
the same packs.
Yeah, we're using the same packs, so we kind of already know what's happening. My gold card is Fraying Sanity. I did not get it. I got a Chaos Maw, which is definitely the pick for me. It's 5 and 2 red for a 6/6, and when it enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to each other creature. So it's sort of a board wipe on top of a huge creature.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite cards in the set from a limited aspect.
Yeah,
it's great.
Other cards I like, Inferno Jet's interesting. Bitterbow Sharpshooters is also just a great value green creature. As well as various other just sort of commons and stuff. But that's kind of it for me. Chaos Maw is definitely the pick. So
yeah, and I got another strong red card, though not quite as good as Chaos Maw, I think, in limited. Neheb the Eternal. He's awesome. He is sort of a build around in this, in that you are investing so much mana in his effect. At the beginning of your post combat main phase, add 1 red to your mana pool for each 1 life your opponents have lost this turn. So this is definitely like a constructed flavor, right?
Yeah,
you want to be able to abuse that as much as you can, so it's not at its best in limited, though I do still think it's
think it's very strong.
Yeah, I think it's great. Free mana is like, you take
it allows
that
you
you
to make double plays, basically, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. Other considerations, though, Sifter Worm is one of my favorite bombs. It's one of my favorite green cards in this. It's a 7/7 for 7, which checks
is
out.
Already good
with trample.
Yeah,
and then you scry 3 when it comes in and gain a bunch of life. Like,
seems good.
that's everything you want to do in limited.
Yeah, it's a game that it's a card that saves you the game most of the time.
Yeah.
If you're in a bad position and you get to play this, you just became the winner.
Yeah.
Like not 100%, but you became in the winning position. You got into the win. I'm tired. You know what I mean?
You're ahead.
You're ahead. Thank you.
I'm
tired.
In good old quadrant
Get over
theory,
it, guys.
shout out to episode like 14.
I don't know. Super early on.
4. Yeah. We talked about this. This wins you installed boards,
Yeah.
late game, and winning.
Yes.
And
All of the
losing,
above.
actually, as well.
Yeah. For
So,
sure.
that's nice. But yeah, Neheb's definitely the pick. And then I also have Ruin Rat,
It's a great card.
which is,
Always good.
again, pretty good in most of the quadrants.
Yeah. Not first pickable, but well,
I don't know. In
you
some
have a
packs,
really bad
in
pack.
some packs.
but
Not even really bad, right? Like a Death Touch Rat. You never.
It's not bad. I mean,
It exiles the thing in the graveyard.
yeah.
Death Touch.
Which is relevant in this format.
true.
But yeah, so that's it, guys. Again, having to re-record this one, so we apologize. This one has been a little bit drawn out.
If
maybe.
it felt funny, that's why.
Yeah, we apologize, but hopefully that won't happen again.
All right, did we forget anything? Hang on.
I don't think so.
We talked about some decks.
We did.
We cracked a pack.
Did a random card.
Did a random card. And
Question of the week from last week.
we told them what the new one is.
We told them what the new one is. I think we're good.
I think there's only one thing left to do.
Sign off.
I think we're signing off.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you hanging in there with us, listening, watching, however you're doing it, wherever you're doing it. My name is Kevin.
My name is Will.
And this has been It Resolves. This has been It Resolves. This has been It Resolves.